love the verse, again, I'm in the car, I'll be paraphrasing, I love the verse found in all three of the synoptic gospels, Matthew, Mark, Luke. Martha, Martha, you are worried and concerned about many things. There is only one necessary thing. Mary has chosen the better part, which will not be taken from her. That is from the story of Martha and Mary, where Jesus enters the house. He's greeted by a woman, greeted by Mary, who sits at his feet, and is talking with him, listening to him. And Martha's running around the house, doing chores, getting ready for Jesus. Martha's like, hey, get Mary to help me. Jesus says, Mary's doing the right thing. She's focused on me. You're worried about many things. Sort of a bit of secular advice here, but, or I heard this originally secularly, by doing so many things in our day, and by worrying about so many things, and by making so many decisions, we cloud our minds. So a lot of, prominent CEOs, worldly successful people, Steve Jobs is a great example, will wear only the same thing every day. Why will they do that? Why did Steve Jobs give his reason for doing that? It was so that he didn't have to decide when he got up what he was going to wear. So he wasn't worried about that. He wasn't thinking about that. He was eliminating the term we're using here, decision fatigue. I originally heard this idea from the YouTuber Hamza, who I really like for, secular self-improvement, talking about why it's important to have a routine, why it's important to have a routine of what we do and what we eat throughout the day. And if you wake up and you don't know what you're going to do, you have to think, what am I going to do today? You have to plan it out. If you're constantly thinking, what am I going to eat? What's for breakfast? What's for lunch? What's for dinner? You're constantly making decisions throughout the day. And I've found that in my life, if I get up and kind of do where the day takes me, you lose like mental brain power, mental energy. And beyond this too, by, especially our phones, especially social media, and even texting people, when you start your day with your phone, with email, with scrolling through Instagram, polluting your mind isn't the right word, but you're having it focus on like all these little different things throughout the day. You're making all these decisions, like how should I reply to this person? Should I like this post? Should I do this? Should I do that? And by letting all this stuff into our minds, we're making all these decisions that we may not really be consciously aware of whenever we scroll past the posts and all this constant exposure. And we're like pulling our focus in many directions. And again, this is kind of like a half secular video, or half secular advice, but for when we have to concentrate in our prayer, in our schoolwork, in our jobs, whatever it may be, by allowing our mind to, grasp on or think about all these different things, we distract ourselves. We're focused on many things instead of the one necessary thing. So the practical advice, what I've found works in my life, is that, at least for the example of studying or doing schoolwork, if I wake up, I don't know when I'm going to study, I don't know when I'm going to eat, I'm not as focused. You get to studying, I've already been texting my friends, I'm thinking about this kind of rude text this dude sent, or, trying to flirt with this girl, something like that over text, versus if you get up, you're going to have your 4 eggs at the dining hall and 1 piece of toast. You're going to study before you check your phone, and you do all that. You're not getting a lot of thoughts in your head. You're not getting a lot of stimulation, reading the news, thinking about that, checking Instagram, checking your phone, YouTube, Snapchat, whatever it may be. You're more focused. And this sort of rule here of focus applies secularly and spiritually. I find my prayer is best when I do it first thing in the morning, when I haven't talked to anyone, I haven't looked anyone in the eyes, I haven't thought about anything else. I'm not getting distractions about, I messed this up earlier, or what am I going to do for dinner? It's first thing, it's the priority. I'm trying to put the one, again, I love one of the translations from Martha and Mary, it says the one necessary thing. I'm trying to do that first. And then later in the day, it still is important to text people. It's not the one necessary thing though. And by trying to put that like first in your day, especially these things that can scatter our minds, like really anything on the phone, we can distract ourselves. And it's very easy to distract ourselves. So focus on eliminating decision fatigue, eliminating the input that you get in your day, especially and most importantly before big tasks. Prayer, deep cognitive work, stuff like that. Having your day set, having a schedule, not having to worry about what you're going to eat, knowing when you get up, knowing what's for breakfast. I'm going to do this, in my work. And after I'm done my work, I'll plan tomorrow. I'll, maybe for dinner you want to cook something new every day. I don't know, whatever it may be. But, even something like, I don't know, like planning your wardrobe the night before, you're kind of saving. I remember Hamza talked about this. He called it brain points, that we kind of use whenever we make a decision. A decision of what to text someone, a decision of what to eat, a decision of, am I going to say a rosary or do a different prayer? What part of the Bible am I going to read? Whereas if you're just picking up where you left off in the Bible, then you're going to pray your rosary, then you're going to have your 4 eggs and sourdough bread, and then you're going to go to daily mass, then you do your homework, then the gym, then you're going to text your friends and worry about all that. Someone's going to get arrested. Oh no, that's what caused the traffic. I'm sorry. There was a huge amount of traffic and some guy was like getting in handcuffs. I haven't seen that in a while. Anyway, brain points, decision fatigue, and again, this is why I love like still self-improvement, Hamza, all this. That is secular advice, like thinking about brain points and decision fatigue. Those aren't spiritual terms, but the preparing your mind to focus on homework, deep work, business work, your job is very similar to how you prepare your mind to focus for prayer. Hamza always talked about doing the hardest thing first. That could be the gym, that could be schoolwork, but for us, walking with God, the hardest and most important thing, not always hard, but the most important thing is prayer, that we want to be the most locked in and laser focused for. So by putting that first in our day, we are able to encounter it before we encounter anything else and set our days up for success. So that's the video. It's crazy. Like once you live it too, once you don't check your phone first thing in the morning and you're not allowing all this input into your lives, you gain more focus. Last little bit, I was listening to a podcast, Andrew Huberman with DJ Shipley, some like Sigma Navy SEAL guy. And he was talking about this mindset very similarly, how when he's at work, he's thinking about work. When he's with his family, he's thinking about his family. And he's trying to limit the outside input that gets to his mind. And he kind of was explaining that his ability to act well, make good decisions, be focused, is not because he's some like miracle whiz. It's because he sort of gatekeeps the inputs that he receives. He's not constantly checking his phone, reading the news. So when there is something that he has to deal with, something concerning, a big decision, he's able to act on that and not be flustered because he didn't open up his phone in the morning and check his emails and social media. He went through his day, did his routine, did his lifting, whatever it may be. And by limiting, by putting a filter on those inputs throughout the day, especially early before you do your big tasks, when something big does come along the pipeline, he was explaining he's better able to handle that because he is so meticulously like ordered his day and what he's thinking about and what he's doing. It's not that he's some whiz who's able to handle these decisions and big things so well. It's because he structures his day and he only allows himself to look at and take in certain things throughout the day. What we take in matters. It feeds our souls. Well, it is true that it's not, again, Jesus says it's not what comes in that defiles us, it's what comes out. But we are still heavily impacted by what we consume, content, music, YouTube, conversations, the people throughout our days. And limiting that, especially before work, and trying to, increase our focus. It helps secularly, schoolwork, business work, job, and spiritually with prayer. Try it out. God bless.